So let's talk about what might just be the biggest leap for finance and accounting since, I don't know, the spreadsheet. It's called Agentic AI. Now, we've all been hearing about automation for years, right? But this is something else entirely. It's about shifting from just, checking tasks off a list to actually achieving strategic goals all on its own. So let's dive into how this new kind of AI is about to completely redefine the finance function. I want to start with this question because it really gets to the heart of the problem. It is so easy for finance teams to get absolutely buried under a mountain of tasks. Processing invoices, chasing down payments, running endless reports. I mean, they're incredibly busy. But here's the thing. Is all that frantic activity truly making the business more effective? That gap, the one between being busy and being truly strategic, that's where so many modern finance teams are feeling the pressure. Okay, so let's dig into that core challenge. The reality for CFOs today is that the old ways of doing things, well, they're hitting a wall. The sheer volume, the complexity of modern finance, it's pushing traditional operations right to the breaking point. And just think about how all these pressures feed on each other. You've got these staggering transaction volumes, and they're often flowing through a bunch of different, fragmented systems that don't talk to each other. Then on top of that, you have more and more regulatory hoops to jump through. And of course, everyone in the business wants real-time, data-driven decisions like yesterday. Oh, and by the way, you need to do all of that while cutting costs. It's really a perfect storm that your basic automation tools just weren't built to handle. So what's the answer here? Well, it's not just a slightly better version of automation. We are talking about a fundamental shift in how we think about this stuff, moving from simple automation to true, genuine autonomy. And this is where agentic AI comes into the picture. It's not just an upgrade, it's a whole new playbook for your finance team. So what exactly is agentic AI? Well, unlike the tools we're used to that just follow a rigid, if this happens, then do that kind of script, agentic AI is goal-oriented. You give it a high-level objective like, hey, improve our cash flow or speed up the financial close, and it actually figures out the best way to get it done. It can reason, it can plan, and it can execute really complex workflows pretty much on its own. And the difference is just crystal clear when you put them side by side. Your traditional automation, it's rule-based, it's static, it breaks the second something unexpected happens, and it needs a lot of human hand-holding. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is goal-driven, and it's always learning. It understands context, and it handles entire workflows from start to finish, not just little isolated tasks. It's really the leap from being a simple calculator to becoming a strategic financial co-pilot. So how does an AI agent actually think? It's not some kind of magic black box. There's a pretty clear process going on under the hood. First, it makes sure it understands the objective, the end goal. Then it breaks that big goal down into a series of smaller tasks. It creates a plan. From there, it makes decisions on the best way to move forward, and it executes all the necessary steps. And here's the really incredible part. It learns from what happened to get even better next time. Okay, enough of the theory. What does this actually look like inside a real finance department? Let's get into some of the most powerful ways agentic AI is already making a huge difference today. Let's start with accounts payable. But we're not just talking about software that can read an invoice anymore. An AI agent manages the entire AP process. It pulls the data, it checks it against purchase orders, it spots weird things that could be fraud, and it can even strategically schedule payments to make the best use of your cash. The end goal here is a completely touchless AP function. And we see that same kind of transformation in accounts receivable. So instead of just reacting when an invoice is overdue, an AI agent can actually predict which customers are likely to pay late. It then automatically prioritizes who to follow up with, sends out the reminders, and gives you a real-time forecast of your cash flow. The whole department just shifts from being reactive to being truly predictive. And now for the one process that keeps so many finance people up at night, the financial close. Agentic AI can automate reconciliations across all your different systems, intelligently spot discrepancies, suggest the right journal entries, and just continuously validate data all month long. And the result? A much faster, way more accurate, and, let's be honest, a far less stressful close. At the end of the day, making this huge leap from being buried in reactive work to actually driving proactive strategy, it doesn't just happen by itself. It's made possible by powerful new platforms that were built for this, like TRAC ONE-F, which is basically the Agentic AI Finance Ops suite for modern CFOs. And that's really what this new vision is all about, right? It's finance operations just completely reimagined. It's no longer just a back office support function. It becomes an autonomous, intelligent, and agentic engine that's actively driving the business forward. All right, so we've talked about the what. Now let's shift gears and talk about the so what. Why does this really matter? What's the real, tangible, strategic advantage here for a CFO and the business? The payoff is huge, and it hits on multiple levels. Yeah, you're going to see significant cost reductions, of course, but it goes so much deeper than that. We're talking about real improvements to working capital, much faster decision-making, tighter compliance, and the ability to scale your operations without everything breaking. The ROI here is just, it's comprehensive. So if we drill down, what does this mean in the real world? Well, having truly autonomous finance ops means you can grow the business without having to hire a proportional number of people in finance. It means your big decisions are driven by real-time data, not old reports or gut feelings. It means your cash flow and liquidity are being actively optimized and risk is being managed proactively. These are the kinds of outcomes that define a world-class finance organization. And maybe the most important benefit of all is the human one. For the CFO, this isn't about technology coming in to replace their role. It's about elevating it. When you automate the operational grind, you free up yourself and your best people to focus on what really matters, the strategy. The CFO evolves from just being a financial steward to becoming a true strategic leader. Okay, so this all probably sounds pretty great, but the big question is, how do you actually get there? You can't just flip a switch and have agentic AI. It takes a really thoughtful, strategic approach. So let's walk through what that roadmap looks like. So what does that path forward look like? Well, there are a few absolutely critical steps. It really all starts with your data. You need clean, integrated data for this to work. From there, you've got to standardize your core processes before you try to automate them. You'll also need strong governance frameworks so you can trust the AI's decisions. And maybe most importantly, you need great change management. You've got to train your teams to work alongside their new AI colleagues and make sure it all integrates smoothly with your existing systems. So look, this shift from basic automation to true financial autonomy, it's not a question of if anymore. It's really just a question of when. The technology is here, and it is totally reshaping what's possible in finance. It's promising a future where the finance team is this strategic, predictive, autonomous core of the business. So the only real question left is, are you going to be the one to lead that change? Thanks for joining me.